Got to switch off the TV.
The TV's on.
Yeah, I think switch it off, eh?
Okay, yeah, should be better.
Yeah, much better. Much better. Yeah.
Focusing nicely now.
Focusing on, I've got the three of you.
Perfect. So you record for play down.
Yeah, it's recording.
Yeah, recording, it is recording.
Morning, everybody.
Good morning, good morning.
It is Tuesday, the
29th of March today.
29th of March.
29th of March, so yeah man, we're on our way now to Cannabisters. Yeah, it's another day, another dawn. Yeah.
It's 1 second to 9 o'clock. And yeah, we're heading through there. It's another big private cannabis club which opened up in Cape Town. We recently saw some articles online on Business Tech and so on.
This is going to be a really exciting one because, as I understand, Cannabisters operate under their own model.
Oh, wow.
So, or a different model to what we've seen in the past. You know, it's not N-Card and it's not Goa, so it's going to be something unique.
Something new, yeah.
Yeah, something new and different. And yeah, they're really
The
well
space
known,
looks very
you know.
good on the photos and all that, so we're expecting quite a nice place.
Yeah.
Stay tuned, guys. We're going to drive through there and we'll tune back in once we arrive.
Lekker is.
So we blessed it. You are here.
Your destination is on the left.
Cannabisters. Hi. Unfortunately, we were not granted permission to film the inside of the venue due to privacy restrictions at this club. We will, however, showcase some photos from Cannabisters' website to give our viewers a sneak peek of what it looks like on the inside, and then we will sit down and have a full interview with Pierre, the owner and founder of Cannabisters.
Alright, so I'm just going to do
A queue, yeah.
Amazing! So we are back with another quick episode here. We're sitting in the mother city, Cape Town. We're here with Pierre. Pierre is from Cannabisters. Cannabisters, as I understand, is a social cannabis club, members only. Yep. Private social cannabis club. And Pierre, can I ask you just for the members that don't know and the guys that haven't seen, just to tell a little bit more about yourself and how you came to be in this zone.
So, many years ago, I was 20. My mother, I used to get stoned with my mother. As a young kid, she felt that if I was going to get stoned, it should be done in an environment, safe environment where I wasn't going to school on the street where they laced the dope with all kinds of things to get you addicted. PCP, they used to, for example, Leicester in the early 80s.
Yes.
Dangerous shit. I traveled the world over the last 10 years and went to every place in the world that was legal. So I went to California, I went to Seattle, I went to Colorado, I went to Maine, I went to Barcelona, I went back to Amsterdam.
Spain, did you visit Spain?
Yes.
Okay.
I went to the clubs in Barcelona. I went to about 9 clubs in Barcelona in a 2-week period. And I started to figure out in my head what I wanted to do.
Yes.
I didn't want to be like everyone else.
Yes.
I wanted to be different.
Something unique.
Something unique.
Yes.
So,
You also mentioned earlier, sorry, that you are from this area. You grew up here.
I grew up in Seapoint. I rent from my synagogue, which in my mind I have God's blessing.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yes. Amazing.
They gave me a lease.
Yes.
They knew what the shop was going to look like because I'd done 3D plans for the shop, and I started putting the shop together about 3 years ago in my mind when the legalization process started.
Okay. So it was the Concord ruling.
So when Zondo gave his ruling, 2 days later I was on the phone with my dream team, and my dream team was and is the same team that got cannabis through Supreme Court. So I hired the entire dream team.
And you mentioned that Cannabisters has got licenses as well, eh?
We don't just have a license as a club. We have a license we have a compounding and dispensing license, which no one in the country has.
So it's the first of its kind.
It's the first of its kind. No one has opened up a club practicing Chinese medicine. So whereas there are clubs that try to utilize their rulings similar to you, okay, where you found a gray area. I didn't find a gray area. I found the open. It's not gray.
Yeah.
It's the open. And before our president spoke a few weeks ago, I had already had the news in Ottawa.
Okay.
So I'm associated with a lot of SAPRA approved people. I'm part of the circle of the approved cannabis manufacturers and shops. So there are not a lot of them that are legal. Okay. But the concept is very simple, that my idea and my dream was that it was holistically a wellness center first and foremost. From there, anything else, recreational use becomes automatic. Okay? But what I wanted to do was to be able to dispense to people both recreationally and medically to know that the wellness of the strain can aid people who are in need of wellness.
Yes. So in other words, everything is tested. You've got your CBD and THC measurement for each strain.
Everything is tested. All our oils are done from medical grade cannabis. So we do, for example, tinctures in 10 ml bottles with 750 to 800 milligrams. None of our products ever go on the shelf without showing the consumer exactly what they're getting. Same as it should be. You can't just give someone a bottle and go 750 milligrams, because they're giving you 750 milligrams in a 50 ml bottle as opposed to in a 10 ml bottle. So my concept is less is more. We believe in the concept of moderate use of cannabis and not abuse.
Yes.
So
there's a line where it becomes...
There's a very fine line, and I'm the testimony to that line. I do not smoke during the day.
Okay.
Yes.
I stay straight during the day.
That's good, then you can keep focused
I'm
on it.
clean, I'm clear-headed, and I have my puff after 4:20. When I know that my partner's here, for example, I'm not smoking 10 joints a day. I'm here. I'm present.
Yes.
And people who get stoned, with the greatest respect, are not completely present. That's why we smoke.
Yeah.
We smoke to take the edge off. We
Yes,
smoke
yes.
for anxiety, or we're OCD or ADHD or whatever. The concept of rolling your joint, that whole mystifying ceremony of everyone and how they construct their joint. Okay? When you smoke our joints, we advise you to have 2 or 3 puffs, leave it for 10 or 15 minutes, see how stoned you are, and then have more. That concept of that you always roll a joint and finish your own joint, I've broken that paradigm. Okay, because to me, you don't do more than half the joint. Okay, right. Consistent quality of 1, looking good, tasting good, smooth going down your throat, and a nice long high. So an elongated high as opposed to a high where you're looking for that next joint already after you've smoked one.
You're satisfied.
You're satisfied for a longer period of time.
Yes.
So what I've found is in growing, we grow for 9 weeks minimum, not for 8 weeks. We push for 10 weeks.
Right. Okay.
And then we harvest. And what we find is we're getting out dope that is boutique.
Yes.
Looks beautiful. It's trimmed perfectly. It's cured perfectly. It's flushed properly. All the important things. So I throw out a lot of dope that we make, and I'll use it for oils. So if it doesn't come out to my standard, very simple.
All the flour that we've seen here is quite exceptional. It's a bit of a step above what we've seen.
It's definitely above the average out there, you know. It's,
In order to survive, you have to be better than the competition.
Yes.
So one of my goals was, and is, because I'm reaching it, I might not be yet at the highest THC levels that I want, okay, but I don't want dope on a whole that's over 25 to 30% THC, because all it's going to do is put you to sleep.
Too much.
It's too much.
It's too much. It's like drinking a bottle of brandy.
I want 18 to 22%, long high, beautiful tasting terpenes that you come back. Now, I dab.
All right.
Okay, I don't smoke. So I get to test all my dope in dab format.
Okay.
Okay, so as opposed to just testing it, we process our above average, our real medical, I process into rosin consistently to test the product, because that to me is the true test of the product. How well
Purest form.
How well does it dab?
Okay.
Okay.
Do you have oils and so available at the club or not?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We do tinctures. We do shatter. We do BHO extract. We do rosin extract. We do a lot of that kind of product in terms of. So we offer a normal dab by the hit.
Okay.
We offer it by the gram. Everything within the shop is Rolls Royce. Everything is above average.
You get that feel here from the decor to the service to the. Even when we got our coffee, there were these little pictures drawn. Harry's had his own little.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's really, the standard is amazing, and the structure, you can just tell that this is well controlled. This is a safe space, and everything is done by the book.
It's been done systematically planned.
It's been planned out. You can see.
Not just smoking a bunch of joints.
Well, I own a clothing company.
Okay.
And I built up my clothing company in 25 years to be a brand.
Okay.
I've never owned my own brand before. So yes, I owned a clothing company that became a brand, a household brand, as in people come to me to purchase clothing. I'd always wanted to have my own brand. So when I opened up my shop, it was imperative. The name was right.
Yes.
What is a cannabister? A cannabister is a purveyor of fine cannabis, as in a barista.
Yes.
I didn't want to call it cannabisters. All right. It was too in your face, says cannabis.
Yeah.
But cannabisters also says cannabis. And people get the name by just walking by.
Yeah.
So I don't have to show dope in my shop. And as you notice, dope is not kept in the front of my shop.
Yes.
You can't see it.
Openly.
You can't see it.
Yeah.
You don't need to see it.
It's
because everyone
closed
knows.
off behind
It's
the
a closed
private
off
area.
so that the shop also doesn't look like a dope house.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it fits into the privacy. You know, at the moment we've got the private bill to work with. We
We've
don't
got
have
the
a-
Privacy Act to work with, and it's an extension of the Privacy Act. We've gone as far as to get that our transporters are legal also. So I distribute around the country.
Okay, so you're able
Yeah.
to transport.
24 hours to any city around the country.
Geez.
Next morning delivery.
Do you guys have that available online for your members? or-
Yes.
Okay, beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow, so you've managed to.
So people are not realizing it. On our new site that's going up in the next 2 weeks, because I've moved from a WooCommerce site onto a Shopify system,
All right, easy.
which will allow my growth. All right, will allow stock holdings to be kept. Will allow my social media to run. It's just a much more powerful system. Your memberships take a minute and a half compared to 5 minutes online. It's a process.
Yeah.
It's a process of making things quicker because everyone wants instant gratification. Right? And the world that we live in, everyone wants instant gratification.
Of course.
And I had to come up with a manner to do it. I don't want people standing at my door for too long.
No.
And your membership prices are also fairly priced, you
Our
know.
membership is the cheapest in the country.
It's not a hassle to sign up as a
No,
member.
it's
you
part of my affordable medicines that license that I have, which is one of my licenses.
So you keep it affordable for the member as
Keep it
well.
affordable for the member to want to come in, okay? So that it's an incidental amount. No one cares whether they're throwing 100 grand away every month.
Of course.
On a whole. And the people who do care are not members of my club. If they care, they can't afford it. And I don't need them in my business.
Could you elaborate a little bit more on the Chinese medicine side of this?
Sure. So when I set up, can you pause that for a second?
Sure. Yeah.
Kaya, just bring me my cigarettes, please.
Okay.
Right, so the question was asked, Chinese medicine. Okay. That was the deal breaker for me.
All right.
When I set up the club and the longevity of what I wanted to do, there are a bunch of clubs in South Africa like yours. Okay. There's other clubs in Cape Town that are clubs, independent running legal clubs where you can do the same thing. And the one club, the name I will leave out of the interview, I've been a member of for the last 2.5 years. I was one of their first members. I supplied them for a long time. And when I opened up, I needed to be different to all of them. I knew about all of them,
Yeah.
of course. I knew about every club there was in South Africa. And I wanted a club that was different.
Yes.
Okay? And how do you get different? The only way you get different is by being authentic. Okay. So I came up with the idea of being a herbal apothecary. And an apothecary is an old Greek word for pharmacy.
Okay.
And called Andre, who I've known since I was 7 years old, and said, "You interested?" He said, "What do you want to do?" I said, "I want to open up a dope club, but I want Chinese medicine as the forefront of the club. Like, to me, opening up in the right manner of what you stand for ethically, morally, spiritually, lifestyle, your zen, your karma, everything had to be in place. Otherwise it wouldn't work. And that's what has set me apart. The fact that I practice Chinese medicine here. He does acupuncture. He looks after our members. That's the reason.
You actually have like a doctor on site as well.
Andre is on site.
Yeah, that's excellent.
Andre is here. He has an office in the front. Okay, he treats patients every day.
And I heard a bit about acupuncture and things like that. You guys do that?
Do acupuncture full force.
Full force, eh?
It's probably the biggest single item that Andre does.
Okay.
He's a magician with needles.
Okay. Would you say it was your travels that gave you the insights?
It definitely was.
Oh yeah.
And that was my vision.
Okay. Okay.
And the vision is success is not about money. Success is about what you pass on to the world and when you leave the world.
Your legacy.
Your legacy. And my legacy is going to be, I was the godfather of that. I was the first one to come out of the closet. And I truly am the first one to come out of the closet because there's no one else who has gone on business times and claimed, come to Cannabisters. We need to stay as cannabis.
Yeah, that's a big thing.
It's a fact. It's a huge thing to be compliant and for me to be able to sleep at night.
Yeah.
I got my mother's blessing to open up the club. I wouldn't have opened it up without her blessing. I don't do anything illegal. Yes,
So you've got
yes,
permission from your
I
local-
smoked dope illegally for years.
Yeah. And
It's a
is there a
constitutional
name?
right.
But
Is there
that's
a
my-
name for this kind of model? You know, every club has its own model that it operates under or something like that.
The model is that we are a wellness center.
Wellness sector.
That would be the model.
Okay.
That makes sense.
To do it for the right reasons.
Yes.
Not just to make money.
Yes.
That makes
To
sense.
give back to your community. So this is my community where I grew up. I'm nearly 58. And it was time for me to give back.
Yes.
It's a big thing for the community
Amazing.
because
Amazing. I love that.
wellness starts with cannabis. You know, that's a huge part of it. If you look at it,
Wellness starts with cannabis when it's not abused.
Just a small question: in which year did you guys open up, or like?
I opened up on the 31st of December last year.
Oh, beautiful, 2021.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
You were mentioning earlier you've known Andre for
50. Andre, how many years have I known you? 50, how many?
We met when we were 8.
So I've known him.
You
It will be 50.
childhood.
It will be 50 years. It'll be 50 years this year.
Yes.
He was my next door neighbor.
Amazing.
I just wanted to mention that you also mentioned that you cultivate yourself.
We cultivate 80% ourselves with 3 growers.
Have you been growing for many years?
Up 12.
Okay, I
Okay,
see.
nice. Okay, so has cannabis changed for you guys since the Concord ruling, or has the industry, how would you say the Concord ruling has impacted this cannabis space? You know,
Can you explain to me your concept of the Concord ruling?
so
How you see it.
when they released the private bill in 2018, and they said, okay, cool, we're now allowed to privately grow and consume and in private spaces. And in my opinion, it felt like that was the key that everyone was waiting for.
Well, that was the first door open. The door is not yet
Fully open.
For commercial
Okay,
spaces.
so Ramaphosa has now stated that he's opening up the doors.
Yes.
The problem with opening up the doors is that it is unaffordable for a black person to come up with 5 or 10 million rand to open
Yes.
up a grow house.
Yeah.
And grow houses cost 5 or 10 million rand to open up property.
Mm-hmm.
To do it at a medicinal level,
Yeah,
at a
To
realistic
do
level.
it and we're at the stage of, we're in the process of obtaining our growing license. It's my next license that we're in the process of getting.
GMP?
Um,
Are you doing it like GMP license?
export.
Export. Okay. Cool. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, so we're gonna, I'm setting up, I've already taken premises. We've started the process. They're coming to view my premises in the next 6 weeks.
And would you say that you guys are happy with the current state of like legislation? Is it working? I know it's a
No,
shambles.
it's a shambles and it's too great. From a point of view of where we are as an organization within the cannabis business being legalized, this is the year that the rules need to come out.
Yes.
So that everyone knows where they stand.
Give us the playing field.
Give us the playing field.
Yeah.
Tell us what we're allowed to do. Take away the fact that we have to be a club.
Mm-hmm.
So we know that SAPRA are releasing retail licenses this year.
Yes.
I am on the list. Okay, for when the law changes and
Give us a mention that side, eh?
It's very important that it is properly legislated and legalized, that we all know where we stand. So I know, for example, how many kilos I'm allowed to carry in the shop. I have an agreement with SAPS. Yes. That is part of my recipe, and that SAPS and I are friends.
That's a big thing. We also do with
With the authorities in terms of, I wouldn't have opened up otherwise.
Yeah.
If there was any chance that the cops could come and raid me, I wouldn't have opened up. I wouldn't have put all the money that I put into this if I knew that it wasn't legal. I come from a family where my father always taught me, he said, rather be poor and honest than rich and dishonest.
Oh, amazing. So you're open with the cops, you're transparent, you tell them this is your plan.
There's too many people in the industry that are a bunch of thieves. It's where they give a bad name to the donors.
Yes.
Too many gangs involved that want their fingers in the pie, where you have to pay off people because you have a shop. I refuse to do that.
Whereas you've owned this because this is your ground, you've been living all your life.
It's got nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
That's beautiful and wonderful.
Yes.
It's got to do with how I set it up to make it that it's a retail shop. It's a wellness center. Come in and get healed. Okay? It's very simple.
And it starts with cannabis.
It starts with cannabis. Okay? Right. And it starts with either flour, oil, edibles. Edibles I call medibles. They're medibles because we do medicinal cannabis. It's medicine. And it's made from the finest popcorn without leaves. Without leaves. So we do not do any oil of any nature with a leaf on it. They're perfect little bags that fall off the tree, or that we will not share exchange because they're too small.
Yes.
So tiny little popcorn bags that are beautiful. We remove the leaf, we do kilos at a time, and we convert it to oils. We squish it, we know what we're getting. We even do veterinarian 1-to-1 cold pressed THC. I have scientifically delivered our first batch.
Animals can also access the healing nature.
I've gone in with a friend of mine who owns a vet group with, I think he owns 5 vets. They purchased a liter as their first test. It's gone through SAPRA. It was approved by SAPRA the other day. I did it yesterday, and I'm now creating proper oils for animals.
Awesome. Amazing.
Yeah, don't get your own goof. Yeah, it's cold pressed.
Yes.
Yeah, of course, it's not activated.
That's brilliant.
So, coming up. All the right things.
Genius.
That need to get done.
Yeah, this might be a little bit off topic, but do you think that cannabis can aid in South Africa's current economical state?
Most certainly.
Everyone is.
Most certainly. It will create jobs.
Yes.
It will create 250,000 jobs, at least to 1 million, if it's done correctly. And at the moment, there's no legislation behind it.
Yes.
So how we're going to do it, we don't know.
Bring us back that thing.
It's available to people like me who have enough money to invest in a growers.
The export has to open up because that's how we're going to actually bring outside cash into South Africa.
So I'm going to probably be one of the first to do THC.
Nice, THC. Is it currently all the exports for CBD purposes?
At the moment, it's all for CBD.
Oh.
I believe there are some guys.
There's a
already
couple.
exporting
Yes,
THC products.
yeah, there's a few who have their licenses that are legal, and they're few and far between. There's, I think, 3 in the country.
I think it's 3 or 4.
I think we visited one yesterday.
Yeah, it's something that has to open up. I'm so happy that guys are starting to push on that because, this is one of the problems that I find with these massive facilities being put up with outside investment money. That money is just going to go out of the country.
It might cover the country, but it's going to give jobs.
For emerging young entrepreneurs out there looking to enter the cannabis space or that are enthusiastic about cannabis, could you provide some advice to them?
I'd provide advice to them that will help them but not give them too much information.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be straight. I'm not going to give away my secrets.
No, that's not what we.
That's my intellectual property.
Yeah.
Or advice for young entrepreneurs.
Yes,
as a
advice.
successful entrepreneur, it doesn't have to be cannabis related, but
The advice for any entrepreneur is to choose a business that has a wide target market. That's the first secret. For anyone. Okay. This is my first retail rodeo show.
all right, okay.
I've been a manufacturer for the last 25 years, supplying people who have their own shops. I learned along the way how to build a brand. And Cannabisters is being built and it's going fast and furious.
There we go.
People are buying into wanting to be a cannabister, purveyor of fine cannabis, and love the concept of what we offer.
Yes.
A wide variety in a safe space, in a beautiful setting.
Yes.
I don't think you can ask for more.
No, this is all you need as a
Real-
from the end user perspective.
Real plants, real paintings,
Real people.
real people.
comfortable space.
And if my members don't behave, they get thrown out. I've thrown out 3 members already out of my club.
Yeah.
So it's a safe, holistic space where they can respectfully consume cannabis.
Yeah, some people come and work here in the mornings.
We've tasted some beautiful coffee. Do you guys have food available here as well?
Food is in the process of, the final menu has been chosen, and we're in the process of doing our testing in our ovens, and then we'll have a menu of about 7 different tapas kind of foods, which I call goofball food.
Yeah.
Good
A
for
little bit of
food.
this, a little bit of that.
Not slap chips and things like that, real nice food.
Healthy food as well.
Always healthy.
Always healthy.
Remember, we're
Yeah.
a wellness sector.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so we try not to sell too many drinks with sugar.
Yes.
So yes, we do carry Coke, Fanta and stuff like that, but I prefer people to drink our fresh juices rather than have a Coke.
Yeah.
I'd rather have natural sugar than substitute sugar. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Here's a little bit of a tricky one for you. If you had to choose one thing that cannabis that stood out for you, that cannabis has taught you over your years of using it, what would you say that is?
To not abuse it.
Respect it.
Respect it. It's a powerful drug.
Yes.
And, it has its place in the world. It has a place in our lives. And it's better than taking Western medicine pills.
It just goes along with respect for the plant, and not, this is not just something that you can throw around and use and abuse.
It's
and
not like alcohol.
Well, as I went before, wine does the crime. People who drink get aggressive and loud. Okay. It's a natural phenomenon from booze, right?
Yeah.
You can't
Okay,
disagree
people who
with it.
get stoned get quiet and reserved and chilled. Right? And are not naturally loud.
Yeah.
And people who smoke dope are naturally lovers, not fighters.
Yes.
People who do booze are naturally fighters, not lovers. And as an alcoholic, I can smile and tell you that if the entire world got stoned and didn't get drunk, we'd live in a much calmer.
Thank you very much.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And there's a time and a place for it. That's where the secret. Know when enough is enough.
No, Pierre, I think that's it for all of our questions today. Unless you have something else you would like to add.
No, I don't know if Pierre wants to add anything else there. That's all our
I
questions.
think I'm happy. Thank you so much for your time. We do appreciate it.